This video is proudly sponsored by EA. A massive thank you to them for letting me play F1 2021 early and providing you with this content. A massive thank you to Stelios, Paul and Slet for subscribing to the channel. Obviously, if you guys want to be featured in these little moments, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 2 of our F1 2021 My Team career mode. Yes, today we're here back once more with another race from this series. Of course, if you missed out on the first video, what on earth are you doing here? Go back and check it out. There will be links to that. And of course, the 2 episodes of Breaking Point we've done so far on F1 2021. And of course, if you aren't already, get yourself subscribed as well. There is plenty more My Team content coming to the channel over the coming days and weeks. If this video hits, let's say, obviously you guys hit the target of 100 on the first episode. Let's say, yeah, aim for 100 again. I'll release another 2 episodes of this career mode tomorrow as well. But yeah, like we said, if you missed out on the Bahrain Grand Prix, definitely recommend going back and checking it out. Before we head though to the Spanish GP, got a couple of things to quickly look at. First of all, we've got a personnel department event to go to. The department has requested your attendance at today's meeting to help them resolve an issue. So we'll see what that is all about. Then department events. As a team owner, you'll be occasionally approached by your departments to tackle a development event. These can trigger at any point while advancing time in your HQ. Department events ask you to make difficult decisions to cover a range of topics such as marketing, drivers, media, development, facilities, sponsor, and more. How you choose to respond to these events has a direct effect on everything from your team acclaim to your driver's stats, and may even be the subject of discussion in interviews. So it's essential to take your time when selecting an option. So, ooh, a little bit of spice then added in here for F1 2021.
We have a couple of options here. Take your time. What you decide to do will have consequences.
So, Lundgaard has been hitting their stride in the simulator recently. While they're in the zone, where should we get them to focus their development? Pace or awareness? So we should focus on reducing mistakes as much as possible. Let's look at their improving their overall pace. So, I think, to be honest, trying to reduce mistakes, for an F2, a guy that's just come into Formula 1 as a rookie, that's probably going to be really important here. Not sure I'm a fan of his setup. It's arguably, I mean, we've got a Formula 1 team with probably a worse setup than my one at home. That sends alarm bells, I'll be honest with you guys. But we're going to go with awareness. Ready for that. I
appreciate you taking the time to help out.
So at least the team are happy with that one. So, we have got a few more resource points and everything like that coming in. Can we perform any upgrades to the car before we head into the next weekend? Then we've got low morale on the durability side of things, but we need some more performance on the car. Let's have a look at some aero upgrades as the morale's quite high at the moment. We can go with the streamlined suspension arms. So we are going to go with that to hopefully try and give us some progress. We can't even rush the upgrade, so it should be done ready for the Spanish Grand Prix there, with a 29% chance of failure. And then the second thing we can do, we can either do the front wing main flap or the secondary wing flaps. Both give us the same performance there. We can't do the tertiary one. Or we can get some really good upgrades there. Rear wing main plane, that has got a good reduction on it, so we're going to roll with that one as well. That should also be done ready for the Spanish Grand Prix. So that's pretty much all our R&D points gone as well, of course. So this should help us, a couple of really high downforce tracks coming up in the world of Formula 1 as well there. So hopefully, yeah, they're going to give us a little bit of a helping hand. Yeah, but we have got a quick season break as well, of course, with the nature of not having a couple of the early season tracks, of course, Imola in the game as well as Portimao. We have got a early season break after just one race of the championship. Let's get some activities filled in as well, of course. We'll attend F1 Esports. We will have a power equipment upgrade. We'll have a sponsor event. And we will also go with an aero focus as well. So that should keep the team nice and busy there. The rear wing main plane has gone on the car successfully. We've also obviously got a bit more cash in the books, everything like that.
Without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Right, there we go. That is really important as well. Then we've got an aerodynamic department upgrade event to go to as well quickly.
Please.
So, we're right on the cusp of a significant step forward in our component development, but we're not going to be able to achieve it by our internal deadline unless there's a last-minute push with the whole department. I suggest we authorise overtime for the next couple of weeks to get us over the line, so we can knock down the morale by 20%, or we don't get the part ready. It should be done before the next Grand Prix anyway, shouldn't it? But we're going to agree to that quickly.
Pass on their thanks for helping out.
I don't think the department do, I'll be honest. We've just made them force overtime as well. So unfortunately, another upgrade has failed. So I'm around there rather low as well. So the streamlined suspension arms did unfortunately fail. So can we get that sorted for the 14th of May? So we're going to miss it out for the Spanish Grand Prix, but it's definitely going to be there on the car ready for Monaco. That's a little bit gutting. But anyway, let's hopefully now head to the Spanish Grand Prix.
On the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen.
Love that as well. Yeah, let's just head into the Spanish Grand Prix and not worry about that anymore. Of course, later on down the game, obviously, I won't show much of free practice anymore, but I think in the early seasons, it's really, really important to make sure, obviously, you are getting enough upgrades developed on the car. I'm still tweaking a couple of things with the setups. Hopefully, by the end of the week, I will actually be starting a hot lap and setup series for you guys as well, once I've learnt a little bit more here on F1 2021. So, obviously, if you aren't already, make sure you get yourself subscribed for that. We're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers on the channel at the moment. But yeah, let's just wait and see what we can do here in this race assessment. Oh, getting a very, very fishtaily out of the final corner, but towards the end of our first lap there. Really, really happy with that one. A lot up on the Delta as well, which of course is really, really important. But yeah, don't know whether it's just, obviously now we've done a full race in the car, we're getting a bit more used to it, or whether we're finding a bit more with the setup, or maybe a bit of both. But yeah, feeling a lot happier in the car early on. But it's just about trying to reduce mistakes over a race stint. Coming towards the end of lap 2, even further up on the Delta, so we're definitely making this thing work for us at the moment. Hopefully now we can try and get the purple score. Spain has always been one of those weird tracks on the Formula 1 games for me. It's never been a track I've particularly enjoyed racing at. And that is a good example as to why. Just completely looping the car around over the inside curb there. That's going to ruin our third lap of the session. We'll try and avoid getting back out on the grass if we can. Oh, we're going to have to hop over a little bit of grass there. But yeah, never been a track I particularly enjoyed, but generally in the past has always been a track we've gone quite well at. Anyway, let's try and get this practice program now done on our fourth lap around the Circuit de Catalunya.
Okay, you weren't quite good enough that lap. Try again.
Struggling to keep the tyres in good nick as we head out of the final corner, but it's going to be another 7/10 clear of the milestone there, and that is not going to be the purple score, so we're going to have to go for one more lap. At the final corner once more, the lap time has been pretty consistent over the course of the stint. And there we go, our first purple score here on F1 2021. That's going to be a nice chunk of R&D points there. Took a fair bit of time, but well worth it early on in the game. Right, let's see what we can do then on our qualifying simulation run. Didn't have much luck in this program around Bahrain at the start of the year, but hopefully around this circuit we can do a little bit better. Of course, actually, turns out we were using all the battery last time out, which doesn't help us out all too much with extra confidence heading into this weekend. Turn 3 is still definitely not flat though, even in qualifying trim, unless we absolutely nail it through there. But yeah, the car obviously works a lot better around these high downforce circuits. Of course, that's what happened when we answered the interview questions pre-season in the way we did. So we got a good sticky car through the twisty bits, which of course Spain and Monaco both have a lot of. Heading down in towards sector 3, we're about 4/10 up at the moment on this lap, and so far, yeah, the car does feel really, really planted around this circuit for the most part as we head up the hill in towards the final couple of corners of the lap. Of course, unfortunately, no new sector 1 here on F1 2021. As we head round the final chicane though, let's just wait and see if we can keep it clean and tidy. Yes, we can. And it's going to be our first green score here in a qualifying program. Is it purple? No, it's not. Target 17th completed, but there's still 100 R&D points. We'll take it very, very happily. Team Wrecking Q2 should be possible this weekend. Yeah, I think that will do us though for free practice here at the Spanish Grand Prix. 3/10 quicker than Lundgaard so far in the session there. But you can see we're gaining a lot of time in Sector 1 and 3 there, losing a fair chunk in Sector 2. But let's jump into qualifying. Right, so here we are then, ready for Q1 for the Spanish Grand Prix. We're going to go out for our first run on a set of the medium compound tyres there. Don't expect to get through into Q2 on them, but thought it'd be good to get a banker lap in on these tyres, of course, as we may as well just make sure we use them in this session here. We'll aim to try and, you know, be still around sort of the Williams pace, if possible, here in Q1 as well. Big wash of understeer through turn 3. Just feel the front end scrubbing away horribly there. Seems to just be a bite point on this car at the moment where it just starts to understeer horrendously there. Carlos Sainz fastest so far at his home Grand Prix. Of course, 2 home Grand Prix drivers this weekend with Alonso back on the grid. Hamilton, though, straight down into the 114s. No idea what lap time we need to be setting here, but hopefully it's a quick and clean lap. Heading up through Sector 3. Those have been pretty tidy for the most part here. No major mistakes over the course of this lap. That's our first mistake, really, of the entire lap there. A little bit of exploration through the final couple of corners, but round in the final turn, what time is it going to be on the board? It's going to be a 1:18.1, so slower than Schumacher, 2 seconds off Sainz. But again, it's on the mediums, so we've lost a good probably upwards of a second because of the tyre delta. We are, however, going to waste no time in getting back out there ready for our second run in Q1. Hopefully now, yeah, like we said, we can find at least another second on that first lap there. Should have a lot more pace in the car, of course, on these tyres, as we're now down into last place at this stage of the session. Definitely do not want to qualify last here at Spain. Not an easy track to overtake at. As we head back down through turn 1 and turn 2, though, that line is not going to help us out all too much. Through turn 3, a blend off the throttle there as we run the car out wide in the exit of the corner, but not a particularly brilliant Sector 1. But hopefully, yeah, through the rest of the lap, should be able to find a bit more pace in the car. Made a mistake through here on our first run, and you can see there finding another few tenths. That's exactly what we need. Just keeping it clean and tidy. Oh, a little bit wide there, right up to the gravel trap on the exit of the corner. We keep our foot in though, despite a big snap of oversteer there. Turn 9 is not flat. How on earth have we got away with that without ripping a wheel off? We have been gifted a lifeline in this Spanish Grand Prix, and again, just like we saw at Bahrain, overstepping the mark on our qualifying run here. We're going to pit back in and we're going to head back out again, but that could have very easily been qualifying over. Right, heading back out then towards the end of Q1. We need about 1.2 seconds if we want to be looking through at trying to get into Q2 here, and this is going to have to be a last-ditch attempt to get ourselves into this second qualifying session for the first time in our Formula 1 career here. We need an absolutely nailed lap, clean, tidy, concise, careful, everything. We need a lot of things from this lap, but yeah, far more importantly, we need it to be 1.2 quicker than our previous run there. Much better line through turn 1 that time around there, and that's instantly going to be caught for second found over our first run. Get it down towards the apex through turn 4, and just really let the car run wide as you get ready, straighten yourself up for turn 5. There's still a lot of understeer from at the front end, but already half a second up on our first run here. Break it down nice and tidy there, a little bit better than we did last time around through there, and again, that's going to find us just a fraction more time. Back down to 6th gear through turn 9, really use the curbing on the exit there, despite making a mistake doing that last time around, slamming the anchors just before the 100-meter board in for Q3. Oh, a bit of rotation from the rear end, but we keep that all under control. There are a lot of engine braking as we head up the hill, and it's going to be very, very close if we can make it through into Q2 for the first time in our Formula 1 career. They're a little bit untidy through the final chicane. They try and put the power down out of the final corner, just no confidence in the rear end. It's going to be an 8/10 improvement, but it's not going to be good enough for Q2 here at Spain. That is heartbreaking. So at the end of Q1 there, we are out. Lundgaard again sneaks through, but P21 ready for the Spanish Grand Prix there. Had we not made that mistake at the end of the run. I felt like we could have probably been, you know, sort of in the mix, you know, Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Nikita Mazepin pace there, but not what we needed. Starting on the back row for the Spanish Grand Prix, Lundgaard has definitely got the pace over us in qualifying trim, but race pace feels good in the car. I still want to feel confident heading into the Spanish Grand Prix. I'm excited to see where Lundgaard can try and drag this 2-2 Motorsport car as well there, but not the end of the session we needed, but let's dive in then here to the Spanish Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to what promises to be another fascinating Spanish Grand Prix, a race which saw Max Verstappen win on his first ever appearance with the Red Bull team in 2016. This after the dramatic coming together of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg on the first lap. Will we see more moments for the scrapbook here today? It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down to turn 1 of this 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through these 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of turn 9. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Verstappen, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sainz, Vettel and Pierre Gasly, Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Raikkonen, Lundgaard, Mick Schumacher and Antonio Giovinazzi, Mazepin, Russell, Mr. Monaco and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are then, on the grid, ready for round 2 of the year here from the Spanish Grand Prix. Qualifying again didn't quite go our way, but we're slowly building into it. We know there's definitely some good pace in the car over the race trim nonetheless. There, in terms of fuel today, of course, no rich revs, so we're going to pretty much knock it down to the standard 33 laps worth in the tank. A one-stop strategy, though, is going to be possible here today. Mediums to the hards. That, in the past, has created a little bit of interest in our years on the F1 games as well, of course. So we'll wait and see as to what we can do with the car here. Hopefully that means, you know, a lot of the guys outside the top 10 can try and elevate ourselves closer to the points as well here. But we need a nice, clean, tidy start once more here at the Spanish Grand Prix. A massive run down towards turn 1, and just like Bahrain, a very, very big braking zone as well there. So let's get into it then. Round 2 of the year here from the Spanish Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights, and it's the lights out, and away we go. Off to a much better start than George Russell on our inside there, as we're going to try and head down towards turn 1 there. The first time we've gained places off the launch in a long, long time here as we head down towards turn 1. Giovinazzi has gone for a big old dive bomb on quite a few cars there through the first corner there. We're still side by side with George Russell as we head out of turn 3. No grip down around there over all the marbles, but we somehow still find ourselves alongside George as we head up in towards turn 4 there. Mazepin slow on the apex as well, of course, and obviously with all these backmarker cars, Mazepin dips a wheel on the grass. That's going to allow us to invite ourselves up the inside in towards turn 5 there, as Lundgaard gets squeezed out by Schumacher. Not the start our teammate would have wanted in this Grand Prix there, as Mazepin actually runs into the back of me as we head down the hill as well there. But the start of the Grand Prix has been good once more. We've moved up places once again, just like we did last time round at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lundgaard very, very early on the brakes there. We'll have a look at the inside accidentally. Oh, big kick of oversteer on the exit. So we try and get the back end all back in check there. Yeah, just a lot of Constantina and up down to the hairpin there. Lundgaard not afraid, not willing to take any risks, sorry. And we just had to try and avoid running into the back of our teammate there. I think Bottas still leads the way at the end of lap 1. Yes, he does. And oh, we're up 3 spots there, but still struggling with the rear balance of the car. Coming to the end of lap 2 though, DRS of course.
We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Thank you very much, Jeff. We are well aware that the DRS is still enabled in this Grand Prix. Hopefully we won't have a DRS failure like we did in the last race there, but closing up to Mick Schumacher just a little bit at the moment. We want to make sure we're definitely within that 1 second margin, so we can try and have a look past the Haasman there. Mazepin actually had to pit at the end of lap 1, because I think, yeah, he must have picked up damage running into the back of me. Oh, there's some battling going on at the road as we head down towards turn 1 there. I think that's one of the Alpha Tauris and the Alfa Romeo with Giovinazzi going side by side. Was that Tsunoda, I'm guessing, who has held on to the place? But yeah, certainly a lot of guys going for moves early on here. We're just stuck on a DRS train behind those two squabbling cars there. It's definitely Giovinazzi and definitely one of the Alpha Tauris. Yeah, I'd be much more inclined to think it's Tsunoda in this Grand Prix. But still, just trying to hang on with these guys at the moment. Lundgaard not dropping back much either, which is nice to see from our teammate. Hopefully we can work together there as all Schumacher takes too much curb and I follow him. So we head back up the hill there. This is the thing with F1 2021 that you guys are going to find out. The cars, there is much less room for mistakes. They will snap round on you. They will bite a lot more over curbs and things like that. A nice run on Mick Schumacher as we head back down towards turn 1, but I don't think we're going to be close enough to go for anything this time round. We need Mick to get out of the DRS of the Alphas in front if we want to try and go for anything on him. Getting even closer to the back of Mick Schumacher now at this stage of the Grand Prix, and hopefully now we can give ourselves a big slingshot run. So we head down towards the first corner here. Schumacher does spot us though, goes defensive. Can we go late on the brakes down on the outside of the young German? Yes, we can. And we had a brilliant battle with him last time out of Bahrain. And once again, we've had a good little tussle with Mick Schumacher in this Grand Prix there. Now up into P17 here. Can we potentially have a look past the Alphas? I knew the qualifying pace wasn't as good as the race pace once more. I think, yeah, definitely we can finish best of the backmarkers this weekend as long as things continue to go smoothly. See, I'm surprised Kimi Räikkönen isn't applying more pressure to Giovinazzi here as we got our first bunch of cars into the pit lane there. Likes of the Ferraris down, one of the McLarens, Daniel Ricciardo, heading back out of the pit lane down towards turn 1 there. Räikkönen does get around him there, and we're going to try and follow him past there as Daniel Ricciardo is not going to be a fan of this. Through turn 3, he's going to try and keep the nose to the inside. But we do go raw on the outside of Daniel Ricciardo in his McLaren there. He's going to get back past us in towards the next corner, but obviously fresh rubber for him gives him a huge advantage at this stage of the Grand Prix. But yeah, Giovinazzi now just outside of the points, but effectively, you know, we've got one more stop to go in this Grand Prix. We are racing these guys, remember. Of course, the difference of the 2 versus the 1 stop here at Spain. Hopefully now we can try and elevate ourselves up the order a bit more. More cars into the pits at the end of lap 8, so we're going to jump one of the Ferraris as well of Carlos Sainz here. Ricciardo's having a look back past Räikkönen back down towards turn 1 to the outside. Goes the Australian there as they come together. Big contact between Ricciardo and Kimi Räikkönen there, and has that given Ricciardo some damage in this Grand Prix? I think he might just have got away with that one, so it must have been wheel-to-wheel contact between the Alfa Romeo and the McLaren man there. 2 of the more experienced drivers on the grid duking it out and still coming to blows. Here we go, Ricciardo again on Kimi Räikkönen as we head out of Sector 2 into Sector 3. They're still trying to work this one out between them. Ricciardo just gets caught out of the curbs and can't do anything to Kimi Räikkönen.
Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time and there are no plans for a safety car right now.
That's reassuring. No safety car at this stage of the Grand Prix. It could help us out though if we got one now. But anyway, just huge mistake out of the final corner. Are we going to see Räikkönen try and defend from Ricciardo as aggressively as he did last time round? Or is he going to admit the McLaren probably isn't going to be a car he's going to battle too much today? Nope, Räikkönen still going to defend every position like his life depends on it at this stage of the day there. Ricciardo this time round. Oh, big kick of oversteer. And is he not going to be able to pull off the move again there? Kimi Räikkönen defends on the inside, but Ricciardo gets clean around the outside that time round. And the Alfa Romeo has to concede the position there. Another brilliant move by the Australian. And he's now almost back up into the points once more. I don't know if Ricciardo having to battle his way through all those back markers has done us a favour or not. Here as we are going to get a good run on Räikkönen back down towards turn 1. Kimi goes defensive. Can we go deep on the brakes down around the outside? Yes, we can. Clean around the outside there, and we probably made that move a far lot more easy than Ricciardo was able to there. Now up into P12 of the Grand Prix, and now splitting the Alfa Romeos here. Hopefully Giovinazzi, who's been at the head of this train for so long, now might be a little bit vulnerable if he doesn't get any DRS. Right, on to lap 13 then. Team almost getting ready to bring us into the pits, but can we get past Giovinazzi before we make our stops there? Giovinazzi's going to go defensive, but this time around we're going to get to the inside of another car there. Big old squeeze from Giovinazzi over the curbs, but we do hold on. And that was a very, very clear-cut move in the end. Now up into P11 of the Grand Prix there. So now just one place outside of the points. But we've got to try and get away from Giovinazzi, otherwise he's just going to fly back past us again. Now he's got the DRS. I've completely forgot to pit in this Grand Prix. I mean, it's going to give us our very first laps in the points there as we get past Tsunoda and the Stroll. But we were meant to pit at the end of lap 14 there. So I don't know now whether Lundgaard is going to try and pit this time around as all. That was not what we needed through turn 1. I'm sure the AI behind now are going to be looking to try and get an undercut on us as well. Giovinazzi has stayed out though. So he actually got caught up, I think, with Lance Stroll. They squabble at 4th position there. But yeah, can't believe we completely forgot to pit in this Grand Prix. Just settling down, concentrating, trying to get into a rhythm as best as possible. And yeah, clearly we're in the zone. We've got yellow flags out in Sector 1 though. That's Raikkonen, by the looks of it, falling to the wayside in this Grand Prix there. So heartbreak for Kimi Raikkonen here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Is he going to be able to keep it going? No, he's kept it going, so he must have made a mistake then here in Spain. So I'm not too sure what's happened there for Kimi. I honestly thought that was an engine retirement. We saw a similar thing with Sainz last time around at Bahrain, but yeah, still not too sure what's going on in those moments. Into the pit lane we go though. 50-mile-an-hour pit lane here. Make sure we get it slowed down nice and tidily. And I told the team I was boxing. Why is Lundgaard coming behind us? I told them this was going to be our lap to box. And they just haven't listened. Lundgaard's coming behind us. Are we going to get undercut by any other cars as well? Of course, that is the other question on everybody's mind there. 2.3 is a whole lot better of a pit stop as we got one of the Williams. Come on, trying to get off the limiter there. We are going to come back out in, I think, P15 of the Grand Prix still. There's Giovinazzi there trying to get a run on us down towards turn 1. But we do hold on. And now we've got a 10-second gap to Tsunoda up the road. Might just be about solidifying this as we're almost at the halfway stage. Giovinazzi is certainly working those hard tyres far better than we are at this stage of the Grand Prix there. The Alfa Romeo man is absolutely applying the pressure at this stage of the races. Look at that, Giovinazzi is going to get a run on us down towards turn 1. And nothing we can do but concede the position this time round. There's a big bit of contact between myself and Giovinazzi. Luckily, again, no front wing damage from that one as we get a good run out of turn 3. Can we go back at the Alfa Romeo? Oh, we thought about it, but Giovinazzi having none of that up into turn 4 there. One of the highest points on the circuit. Yeah, Giovinazzi firm but fair, I think, in that moment. Slammed the door shut when really we probably shouldn't have kept off toe in the doorway there, but maybe now we can try and come back at him as we head on to lap 20. If you want to try and get a run on another car down the front straight, it's so critical. You're trying to stick all over the back of them through this final sector here, and it's so difficult to do so as well there as we head down in towards the final chicane. Oh, again, just running a little bit wide through the first part there and settling the rear through the second. And you can see then just huge kick of wheel spin and nothing you can do when you head over the start-finish line there. Vettel's pit onto another set of mediums for Aston Martin there, and he's still come out about 5 seconds up the road. So I think there's no chance of points here today. But again, you can see if we stay a couple of tenths closer to Giovinazzi through the final couple of corners, we definitely have got enough momentum to get past him down towards turn 1. That's a lot better run out of the final corner. Now surely we can try and look back past Giovinazzi as we head back down towards turn 1 here. Going to use so much of the battery. Try and make this work there, and Giovinazzi can't even go defensive on us. So we head down towards turn 1 there. We'll get clean around him and back to the racing line before turn 1 there. Swiped a bit across him, but made it very clear we were going for that move again. And this battle with Giovinazzi has been an absolute banger so far in this Grand Prix. 2/3 race distance, still a long way to go. 9 laps to go then here from the Spanish Grand Prix, and still myself, Giovinazzi, Schumacher, and I'm guessing George Russell all still just nose to tail at this stage of the day as we battle it out for king of the backmarkers. Not quite a crown I think any of us really want to hold, but we'll take it nonetheless. We got yellow flags out. That is Kimi Raikkonen again in this Grand Prix, but I think this time around it might be a mechanical issue for the Alfa Romeo man. Obviously, we saw Ricciardo out in round 1, and Kimi Raikkonen falls to the wayside here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Heartbreak for him and Alfa Romeo at the end of the day when they looked so strong early on. Now Giovinazzi has got to fly the flag for the team and try and get him a big result here. Alright, back to start lap 27, and Giovinazzi is closing in, but there's blue flags now for all of us as well in this Grand Prix. Giovinazzi, we're going to force him to the outside as we head down towards turn 1. Can we keep the nose there? Yes, we can, just about. Around the outside through turn 2, and this time around we do hold on to our position here. No, we have got a fighting chance against Gio, and hopefully these guys are all going to jump out of the way for Valtteri Bottas. They were of course going to have to do the same in just a moment there, but a bit of pandemonium there as Giovinazzi blocks Bottas horrendously out of the first few corners. We'll hopefully let him by down the straightaway and lose ourselves as little time as possible there, but a little bit of chaos and confusion between all the back markers trying to let the Finn through. I can't believe we didn't get lapped at Bahrain, but of course Spain a much shorter circuit, and of course a lot more aero dependent as well, means the top guys tend to be even quicker as Bottas moves past us. We are now a lap down in this Grand Prix. Does now mean we've got 1 lap less to complete though as we get towards the end.
Your DRS is offline. The rear wing is down, so you can stay out while we work on a fix.
Love that! 2 races in a row here. So now if Giovinazzi gets past us, we really aren't going to be able to do much to get back round him. But a bit of deja vu setting to settle in this Grand Prix. Of course, we were ahead of Giovinazzi last time round and made the mistake which cost us the place. I do not want a repeat of that here today. Oh, we got more yellow flags out though. It's one of the McLarens going slowly. Is it Ricciardo for the second time this season, or has he just had a little bit of a slip up here in this Grand Prix? I think Ricciardo's just had a slip up, I want to say. Really confusing the fact this keeps happening on F1 2021. Yeah, Ricciardo is still moving, so he's binned it by himself then apparently on the minimap. Don't know if it was him or Lando, but as we get a horrible run out of the final corner, now we're really going to have to go defensive on Giovinazzi back down towards turn 1 there. Look at the run the Alfa Romeo's got there though, nothing we can do again, and now we're just 4 to go here from this Grand Prix. Without the DRS, I don't think there's going to be much we can do to get back past him. Here we go. 2 to go, and the DRS is now back online as we've got more blue flags in this Grand Prix. I think Schumacher's just been jumped by Lewis Hamilton, so we need to hope Hamilton tries to get past us down the front straightaway here and lose as little time as possible to Giovinazzi. Now it does mean that we can try to attack the Alfa Romeo man again. Oh, that's not the line we need though through the final chicane. Hamilton's probably not going to be happy about this in front of him. We will jump out of the way though out of the final corner. Try and get some slipstream and DRS off Hamilton as well as we head back down towards turn 1. And then we just got to pray. Oh, look at that, Giovinazzi. They're really slowly letting Hamilton pass, so we might be able to make that work there. Hamilton locks up into turn 1. It's lapped car carnage at the Spanish Grand Prix, and now we're just less than 2 laps to go there. Giovinazzi, that was a really, really poor manoeuvre by the Alfa Romeo man, but it does mean he's going to get 1 more shot to get back past us again with the DRS, and we might not be able to do anything back to him. So starting the final lap then of the Bahrain Grand Prix, we got more blue flags out at the moment, as Verstappen's going to try and look past us back down towards turn 1 there. I think just like Giovinazzi, we probably ought to get out of the way of Max Verstappen, but this could get really messy down towards turn 1 there. Verstappen wants the inside, and we'll both just let him by down towards turn 1 there. I thought Giovinazzi might try and be a bit cheeky with that, but that might have just gifted us P15 in this Grand Prix there. Bottas looks clear out front there ahead of Hamilton and Sergio Perez up in P3. But it's been another battle for the ages so far for the backmarkers in this race. Plenty of action from the start to now, and Giovinazzi has pushed us all race long as well, of course. Unfortunate for Kimi Raikkonen. He gave us a good run for our money early on, and unfortunately, yeah, got screwed over before the pit window there, and a mechanical failure for him makes him the only retirement from this Spanish Grand Prix as well there. But Bottas rounds the final couple of corners to win his first race here of F1 2021. Means it's going to be all tied up, I think, between him and Lewis Hamilton there. Depends who's got the fastest lap bonus point this weekend there. Hamilton comes through to complete another Mercedes 1-2 ahead of Perez and Max Verstappen there. So Red Bull need a little bit more from their car if they want to be winning races here. But rounding the final couple of corners, we do finish off king of the midfield this weekend. We should have done it at Bahrain. It's P15 here at the end of the Spanish Grand Prix, and we will take that happily enough.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. And talk to me. What do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Valtteri Bottas passes his rival to take over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I think it has to be Fernando Alonso. He got the strategy spot on and consistently had the pace to come through as well.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Spanish Grand Prix, and Valtteri Bottas with 2 fastest laps from 2 Grand Prix does inherit the title lead here as we exit Spain. But Lewis Hamilton P2, though, once again, like we said, another Mercedes 1-2, another full 44 points for them in the opening couple of races of the season, looking as formidable as ever there. Perez P3 ahead of Max Verstappen with Lando Norris up in P5, another good result done by him. Alonso, yeah, made the one-stop work, 12th to 6th in the end there, and a good haul of points for him at his home race there, finishing just ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Wish I'd seen the finish between him and Lance Stroll there, 4 1/1000ths of a second between the Australian and the Canadian at the end of the Grand Prix there, with Ocon and Charles Leclerc rounding out your point scorers there. Gasly just misses out ahead of Sainz. Then you got Vettel, Tsunoda, myself, the first of the cars to finish the lap down there, with Antonio Giovinazzi, Schumacher, Lundgaard, Latifi, Russell and Mazepin all making it to the flag there, and Kimi Raikkonen, yeah, the only man not to make it to the checkered flag when all is said and done. It means championship-wise, Bottas, yeah, 2 points clear of his teammate after the opening 2 races of the year. The Red Bulls tied on 27 there, with a 3rd and a 4th place each after the opening couple of races there. Lando in 5th with 2 5th places there. Alonso leapfrogs his way up into 6th ahead of Stroll, who gets the jump on Charles Leclerc down into 8th place. Ricciardo 9th ahead of Ocon, Gasly, Vettel, Sainz and Tsunoda there after that first points finish of the year for him. We move up into P16 there, just behind Kimi Raikkonen by virtue of count back there, and Lundgaard still down in P20 as well. That means constructors-wise, well, up to 9th overall there. We're now better than a couple of teams as well, which is really, really important for the prize money. Mercedes still dominant, though, ahead of Red Bull and McLaren. Alpine up to 4th, ahead of Aston and Ferrari. AlphaTauri with 1 point on the board still. Could be critical later on in the year there, with Alfa Romeo, 212 Motorsport, Williams and Haas rounding out your order. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. Like I said, 100 likes on the video, and we will upload another 2 episodes of this series as well for you guys tomorrow. But yeah, trying to hit 20,000 subscribers, it'd be greatly appreciated if you could help us get one step closer. We'll be back ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive, massive thank you to the Travesty, Patrick and Chuan for being a member of the channel. If you guys want to help us out as well, obviously you can join for just £1 a month with some other exclusive perks by clicking the join button down below.